Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Yu Hui wanted to test the upper limit of Chen Ming's ability. Chen Ming was actually quite curious about the limit of his ability. His repair ability can replenish live ammunition and missiles. Even energy weapons can reduce the time limit of weapon cooling through the repair function when the energy supply is sufficient, which is equivalent to replenishing ammunition in disguise. So where is the upper limit of this ability? What about the nuclear missile silos installed on spacecraft? Or after humans entered the space age, what about those weapons that are more terrifying than nuclear bombs? Although Chen Ming can't touch nuclear bombs, nor can he touch weapons stronger than nuclear bombs, and Yu Hui doesn't know whether he will give them. But in short, testing the upper limit of the ability will not harm Chen Ming. There is nothing to say. Chen Ming directly chose to repair the Purgatory Cannon. This giant cannon, which is as big as the iron ore, almost consumed all the repair materials prepared by Yu Hui in just a few minutes. There are still some small pieces left, and Yu Hui should not be able to take them away later, so Chen Ming can keep them for himself. The metal liquid stopped flowing into the infernal cannon, and all 30 rounds of the infernal cannon's magazines had been loaded. The whole process gave Chen Ming the feeling that it was no different from repairing other shipborne weapons that used ordinary bullets. Overall, it was similar to repairing a frigate of the same size, and there was no special feeling at all. Chen Ming specially called the operating equipment in the factory to open the magazine of the infernal cannon and took a look. He did see 30 man-sized shells loaded with plasma-charged warheads neatly placed in the magazine. Even though Chen Ming had no knowledge of plasma-charged warheads and did not even have a sample, only materials, Chen Ming still relied on his maintenance ability to replenish them all. It can only be said that maintenance ability is still the most perverted ability that Chen Ming has now. Hui Huang, who also has factory authority, can obviously see the magazine that Chen Ming opened. And this time, he did not wait for Chen Ming to leave for rest at night, but directly dispatched a remote-controlled robot team to drag the infernal cannon away again, towed onto a cargo ship that landed quite a distance from the factory. It can be seen that Yu Hui is very concerned about the results of Chen Ming's ability test this time. It may be that Yu Hui happened to have a plan that can be based on Chen Ming's ability. Whether it is what Chen Ming thinks or not, there should be a result after a while. After watching the cargo ship take off, Chen Ming asked Hui Huang, "Are there no other tasks today?" "No. Please continue to study the books we gave you before in the remaining time." "Okay." In that case, Chen Ming felt that the time was almost right. Before Hui Huang hung up the call, Chen Ming said directly, "I have a request." "What request?" "You should know that my ship is a mining ship, so I want to go out to mine. You should not worry that my small mining ship will collect all the ore, right?" Chen Ming's sudden question did not make Hui Huang hesitate, and he immediately asked, "What's the reason?" "Same as yesterday. Mr. Chen, your request yesterday was for green plants that can provide you with emotional value, and we have now helped you obtain the cultivation equipment and will soon deliver it here. We are also looking for green plants suitable for human habitation, and they will also be delivered soon. Is it unreasonable to obtain emotional value through mining work?" Huang Huang clearly rejected Chen Ming, but Chen Ming also had reasons to explain. "You should know that humans have a kind of cabin fever, right? If a person stays in a closed environment for a long time, psychological problems will occur. Look around. It looks very empty, but in fact, the gray land and the dark sky may give people a stronger sense of claustrophobia than a normal environment. And I usually stay in the factory during the day. The factory environment you specially transformed is no match for my normal working environment on the human side. You should understand this, right?" Huang Hui knew that there is indeed cabin fever among human diseases, and the cause of the disease is indeed the same as what Chen Ming said. Although he is not a human and does not know what human thinking is like, he knows that different humans have different definitions of different things. A narrow environment for one person may be just right for others. Therefore, Chen Ming's current request is barely within the reasonable range. But if Chen Ming, who is extremely dangerous to Yu Hui, runs out of the factory and walks around the planet at will, it is definitely not a good thing for them. So Hui Hui immediately reported the situation to the higher-level Yu Hui AI. However, It takes time to transmit information, and it also takes time to consider and confirm and then send the information back. Just when Hui Huang hadn't given Qian Ming a definite answer, Chun Ming suddenly took a step back and said, "In fact, I don't have to go out. I just need to let my spaceship go out." Huang Hui immediately asked, "Can remotely controlling the spaceship to do mining work help you relax? Do you know the concept of games? It's similar to games. In reality, if people are really asked to do mining work, it's really hard to say that it's a way to relax, but it's completely different in games. People may spend hours or even days collecting minerals in games, and I remotely control my spaceship, which is actually similar to games. Just think of it as playing games for fun." After Chen Ming finished speaking, Hui Hui also received a reply from a farther place. After confirming Yu Hui's attitude in the reply, Huang Hui directly rejected Chen Ming's idea and said, "Mr. Chun, please try your best to ensure your efficiency in daily work and your efficiency in learning. We will not delay your regular acceptance." However, although Hui Hui refused, he sent Chun Ming's request back again. Chun Ming obviously would not give up easily and continued to try. "You should be able to see the efficiency of work, right? It only takes me 5 minutes to complete most of the work, and I think I have invested enough time in learning. Come to think of it, you mean that as long as I guarantee that I can pass the monthly review, you can give me the freedom to do so?" Huang Hui hesitated for half a second and received a reply again, saying, "Yes, it requires an excellent review result, and only your spacecraft can sail on the planet." Chen Ming was a little excited, but he did not show it. He had succeeded in getting the first step to go out, and it was not surprising that Hui Hui would give in to Chen Ming. After all, the reason it refused Chen Ming to go out last time was that an asteroid fell, not a strict prohibition. It was this bargaining process that Chen Ming always felt something was wrong. But this was not the point. The point was that as long as Chen Ming completed the excellent review, his iron ore could go out and sail freely on Yuhui's colony planet. Although it would definitely be monitored by Yuhui, at least the first step was taken. "Then let's start now. I have mastered all the books you gave me." Huang Hui was not surprised by Chen Ming's request for review now, but just said, "Mr. Chen, shortening the inspection period may not be a good choice for you." "I know." Chen Ming's answer made Hui Hui send a document immediately and said, "Complete it. We will give you an assessment soon." Chen Ming nodded and opened the file. While reading the content of the file, he suddenly realized what the strange feeling he just felt was. However, he had no ability to change it now, so he could only silently start writing this review test that was almost the same as the test paper he had written countless times. Chen Ming had already thoroughly mastered the knowledge in the book given by Yu Hui before, and filled in all the contents in the file as if he was directly looking at the reference answer. The whole process did not take much time. Hui Hui received the completed document sent by Chen Ming. Chen Ming felt that according to Yu Hui's calculation ability, he should be able to get the result immediately. However, Hui Huang did not directly answer Chen Ming about the results, but just asked Chen Ming to continue the actual operation. For the actual operation, Chen Ming needs to carry out special modifications on several standard weapons, including expanding energy conduction track, series coil, conductor track parallel connection, etc. Just when Chen Ming was writing the questions, Hui Huang had already delivered the weapons needed for the actual test to the factory. 2 small and 1 medium weapons were piled up in the factory's work area. However, Chen Ming did not want to honestly transform all 3. Although there were mechanical equipment, it would still take a lot of time to transform 3 machines. So Chen Ming tried to say, "I should have said it before. My transformation ability can only transform the relevant knowledge in my mind." Huang Huang replied very reasonably, "Yes, but in the actual test we still want to see your ability to do it yourself. You can choose one to transform yourself, and the other 2 use your ability." "Okay. It would be convenient if you only need to transform 1 weapon." Chen Ming controlled the factory machinery and quickly began to transform one of the small weapons. At the same time, he threw the other 2 weapons onto the refraction and instantly completed the transformation that Chen Ming had mastered thoroughly. Then, with the fastest efficiency that Chen Ming could achieve, he completed the remaining tasks with the help of the factory equipment. Hui Huang suddenly asked, "Mr. Chun, Have you learned our technology before? No, but what you gave me is very basic knowledge, which is not too difficult to learn. The reason Chen Ming gave made Hui Huang difficult to evaluate, although it sounds reasonable. After all, simple knowledge does not take too much time to master. But Hui Huang gave Chen Ming more than a dozen books, with a total of hundreds of pages. It is not that they are simple and can be learned and mastered in 2 days. Even the actual operation can be so proficient. Even Hui Huang himself, when he was still at the Gamma level, could not achieve the learning speed of Chen Ming. So it immediately made a change to Chen Ming's daily report that it had to submit every day. There was no change in other things, but one line of learning efficiency evaluation, high, was changed to evaluation medium, with learning ability at least close to the core of the beta level. And it added an extra line at the end of the report. You can try to speed up the learning progress in the next cycle. After doing this, Hui Huang immediately said to Chen Ming, Mr. Chen, you can fly freely on the planet later, but as you said, only your spaceship can fly freely on the planet. The next review will still be conducted in a month. These are the books you need to learn and master next. After Hui Huang finished speaking, he sent a new batch of ebooks to the control terminal of the factory, with a few more books than before. Chen Ming looked at the titles of these books, and they were just as he had thought before. Most of them were about weapons, and only a small part was about radiation systems. And Chen Ming flipped through them casually and found that the difficulty of learning all the books in them had increased to a certain extent compared with the previous first batch. Obviously, Yu Hui needed Chen Ming to specialize in the weapons and radiation technologies of Yu Hui's ships. I just don't know if Yu Hui will change his plan after knowing Chen Ming's learning efficiency. After Hui Huang gave Chen Ming the opportunity to act on the planet and left, Chen Ming finally had the opportunity to start preparing to do real work. However, Hui Huang gave Chen Ming a map of the distribution of mineral veins on the planet when he just left. There are two meanings for giving this thing. One is to follow Chen Ming's intention and allow Chen Ming to easily find mineral-dense areas on the planet for mining. The other is to restrict Chen Ming's movable routes on the planet in disguise. Chen Ming said that he was mining to relax, so if he had nothing to do and ran to a place where there was no mineral vein marked on the map, he must have ulterior motives. So if Chen Ming does not want to be restricted by Yu Hui more, then his spaceship must follow the distribution of mineral veins when it goes out, and at most deviate a little. This is a restriction he must bear. After all, there must be some individuals of Yu Hui on the planet. The colonies of the planet need to be developed, so there needs to be units to go out for field investigations to confirm the direction and possibilities of development. Or, as Gamma once said, some individuals of Yu Hui have their own interests, and exploring the planet is one of them. So Chen Ming might find them somewhere when he goes out with his spaceship. Even if Yu Hui will give orders to the Yu Hui on the planet to avoid Chen Ming and warn Chen Ming in advance of the direction of flight, there will definitely be some individuals of Yu Hui who cannot completely avoid Chen Ming's spaceship. If the direction of Chen Ming's spaceship is restricted, at least the probability of Chen Ming encountering Yu Hui individuals will be greatly reduced. But Chen Ming must have considered this issue before. Although Yu Hui would definitely monitor him, no matter how strict the monitoring was, as long as he could see Yu Hui, he would definitely find an opportunity. Chen Ming opened the map on the iron ore. The map given by Hui Huang was a three-dimensional map. A sphere appeared in front of Chen Ming through the spacecraft equipment. You can intuitively see how the mineral veins on the planet are distributed. Chen Ming's current location, where the colony is located, is near a large ilmenite vein. It is this ilmenite that supports the development of the entire Yu Hui industrial colony. As the Yu Hui colony continues to expand, some small mineral veins around it, such as manganese ore, copper ore, iron ore, etc., have also been covered by the colony and are being developed. But outside the colony, there are still a lot of mineral resources quietly lying there. Even many of these mineral veins are pure open-pit veins. The mineral resource reserves of the entire planet can be said to be quite exaggerated. And these open-pit veins, from a normal logic, will be Chen Ming's next target. But Chen Ming didn't want to argue with Yu Hui. He couldn't plan his route based on where it was convenient to collect valuable ores. The route he planned later must be a route that could cover the largest area of the entire planet during daily life while sailing close to the ground. In this way, his exploration of the planet would be more accurate, and the probability of encountering Yu Hui would be higher. Anyway, Yu Hui didn't restrict Chun Ming's destination and route. It didn't matter if he wandered around in different mineral veins. The higher the chance of finding Yu Hui, the better. Chen Ming needs more targets and more complex and changing environments. Only then can he complete his final idea under Yu Hui's surveillance. So in the end, Chen Ming decided that his destination was on the other side of the planet, on a piece of bauxite that was just opposite to his current colony. Chen Ming chose such a destination not only for his final goal, but also after careful consideration of the feasibility. According to the navigation speed of the iron ore, it is enough to go back and forth in daily life on this planet that is several times smaller than Ramu. And Chen Ming actually has another idea, which is to see which ores Chen Ming particularly needs now. You can find a way to collect and smelt some, and replenish some raw materials for the iron ore. The planets that Yu Hui can colonize will always have some rare minerals. By the way, try to disassemble the ore, which Chen Ming has never tried before. Maybe it can save the fuel cost of smelting, or even directly save the smelting equipment. And even if the ore collected back is not what Chen Ming needs, he can also choose to give the unnecessary ore collected to Hui Huang. Like other Yu Hui individuals who control heavy mining machinery and are responsible for mining, they get normal material rations for work. Hui Huang said before that Chen Ming also has material rations, and these rations can be exchanged for some materials. For example, sky steel. After Chen Ming modified and repaired the spacecraft several times before, sky steel has begun to be a little short. In a short period of time, Chen Ming does not know where to find the mechanical tribe to purchase goods, so it is always good to reserve some. And since Yu Hui agreed to Chen Ming to mine the spacecraft, it is also considered to agree to Chen Ming to mine. Although the efficiency of the iron mine is average, it should be no problem to subsidize some resources for self-use. In this way, the iron mine is back to its old business. In the limited storage space and long operation time, find enough valuable rare ores, collect, smelt, and bring back. Chen Ming, from a savage struggling to survive on Ramu, has now become Yu Hui's half-collaborator and half-prisoner. At least it's better than before, and better than dying directly under the firepower of the military rulers. Chen Ming didn't dwell on the past. He got off the iron ore, left the work area separated from where Chen Ming usually stayed, and then opened the factory door. He controlled the iron ore to fly to the other end of the planet along the shortest route between the mineral veins on the planet. Hui Huang didn't say anything about Chen Ming's behavior of relaxing during work time. Anyway, Chen Ming's daily work today has been completed, and the review has been passed. Tomorrow is the time for everything to start as usual. In Chen Ming's eyes, the gray land of this planet called KT3 by Yu Hui kept passing under the iron ore. The unchanging environment made Chen Ming even doubt whether the iron ore was spinning in place. Fortunately, after leaving the colony for a distance, the terrain of the planet gradually began to fluctuate. Some smooth hills gradually appeared at the limit of the field of vision that the camera of the iron ore could capture. However, the environment here is still similar to that near the colony, and it is still all gray land. Chen Ming tried to find any traces of biological existence, but it is obvious that there will be no biological existence on this rocky planet without an atmosphere. Instead, he saw a lot of high-grade metal or veins exposed on the surface. The value of collection is definitely higher than that of low-priced high-grade metals such as Baiyun steel. However, Chen Ming still restrained the thoughts in his mind and continued to fly to the destination. In the middle of the flight, in addition to his main search for traces of Yu Hui individuals, he also saw several veins that were obviously used to build mining farms where Yu Hui had worked recently. Through the spacecraft, Chen Ming could not only see the mechanized or punches in the mining farm in operation, but also saw the passage leading deep underground, which was obviously for robots to pass. Yu Hui himself also has robots, and there will be Yu Hui AI cores installed on these robots. When Chen Ming thought of this, he felt that he had a lot to do in these mining sites. The complex and dangerous environment deep underground was simply the best place for him to do things. But the only problem with doing this was that the iron ore was a mining spacecraft, and its design purpose was to collect ore from asteroids. Mining work on the ground was already a bit difficult, and mining work deep underground was even more so. But Chen Ming didn't give up so easily, and he still planned to give it a try. Although Chen Ming didn't have a mining robot, he had a spider-shaped transport robot. After some modification, the equipment of the mining robot should be able to be used. Chen Ming remembered that there seemed to be a book about robot modification in the technical book that Lao Wu had given him before. At that time, Chen Ming can use the mining robots to enter these working mines. Just find a way to bypass Yu Hui's restrictions, or simply bring up this idea directly with Yu Hui and the others. Although it may not be realized, what if? Anyway, even if it can't be realized, Chen Ming will find a way himself. After obtaining the permission to go out from Yu Hui, Chen Ming spent several days going to the other side of the planet many times through different routes. He basically figured out the situation of most of the planet and recorded it in the computer of the spacecraft. So far, Chen Ming has confirmed the location of almost all the Yu Hui mining sites he flew over on the planet, and the location of some other facilities that may be used to record planetary data. Yu Hui does not need to rest, and all facilities must be working 24 hours a day. However, before Chen Ming went there, Yu Hui had notified in advance to evacuate or hide. So Chen Ming had to hide his intentions as much as possible. He controlled the iron ore to dig for a few days, and also took out the valuable ore inside through the disassembly ability, and gave the unnecessary products directly to Yu Hui in exchange for monthly material rations. It seems that he really just took mining as a pastime. However, during this period, Chen Ming must have done more than those things on the surface. He also spent a lot of time to determine the differences between different mining sites, and found the locations of several mining sites with advanced resources and a large number of Afterglow AI. These places are Chen Ming's final goal. However, if he finds other opportunities halfway, he will not miss them. And in these few days, Chen Ming has also read almost all of the subsequent technical books that Hui Huang gave him before. If Chen Ming was not reading books about robots while reading these books, the efficiency would be even faster, and it should be all done in 2 days. However, it is precisely because Chen Ming read professional books related to robots that he now has the ability to transform robots. Chen Ming plans to transform his transport robot named Standard All-Terrain Transport Spider Mechanical Body into a mining robot. This will facilitate his subsequent plans. In addition to learning, he only needs to select and confirm on the panel. This is the benefit of learning efficiency and ability. In addition to the most basic small mining laser and some supporting exploration and drilling equipment, the robot to be transformed has some melee or long-range weapons that can be used for combat, plus some weird things like the microelectromagnetic pulse generator learned from refraction. Chen Ming also plans to equip the robot with some high explosives that are quite suitable for the mining work it is going to do. He used the explosive material ratio he got when he dismantled the Ludwiging explosives in the capital of the Star region. The effect should be quite good. Chen Ming felt that it should be no problem for the mining robot to carry some explosives that can blow up destroyers to blast mines. So he quietly stuffed a lot of it in. Anyway, it must be more than what the madman in Ludwiging had on him. Then Chen Ming dismantled half of the legs of this spider-shaped robot, and also dismantled some hydraulic load-bearing devices. Chen Ming did not need the overly powerful carrying and bearing capacity of the handling robot. He only needed to save some space to store the collected and some explosives that could not be stuffed in. Accordingly, Chen Ming also slightly adjusted the robot's walking logic AI to adapt it to the walking logic of 4 legs. Of course, although it has fewer legs, Chen Ming still tried his best to ensure its adaptability in complex environments. As for the effect, it should be able to support it for a period of time to a certain extent, and it will not be paralyzed directly. Anyway, Chen Ming felt that this robot should not be able to live for a few days, so there is no need to care too much about functionality and durability. The transformation did not take Chen Ming too much time. In less than a minute, the melted materials on the iron ore had been completely integrated into the new mining robot. The body size has not changed much compared to before, and it is still the size of a person. The middle part of the 4 spider legs was specially enlarged by Chen Ming, which looks a bit bloated. But there should be no big problem. Chen Ming is going to actually operate it first to see the effect. However, just as Chen Ming was about to get started, he found some problems. This robot, which he had tried several times before and could not be controlled through the panel, is now suddenly controllable again. And it was the same as how he controlled the spacecraft, directly controlled with consciousness, without any interference or delay. This situation made Qianming immediately consider whether it was a new ability due to the growth of his mental power. However, his mental power has only been growing normally in the past few days. He consumes mental power through the Liar Stone and other things to obtain training effects. There is no breakthrough or significant growth in mental power. And the number of controllable spacecraft displayed on the panel has not increased. There is only one more line in the corner of the iron or panel. Transformation link. Mining robot, customized mechanical body. Like the AI core, no specific controllable upper limit data is displayed. However, Qianming feels that this mining robot should be counted on the iron ore, and it is impossible to exceed the limit of the mental power consumed by the iron ore. So the current situation should have one explanation. As long as the unmodified robot leaves the spacecraft, Qianming cannot control it, but the modified one is different. But Qianming clearly remembers that the previous situation seems to be different from the current one. And he has modified so many things. Why is only this robot he just modified displayed on the panel? Qianming was a little confused and walked off the spacecraft directly and took out the pistol he had been carrying with him. Then Qianming found that the pistol he had modified, which he had not looked at carefully for a long time, could open the panel directly. There is no difference from opening the panel of the spacecraft. Qianming can directly open its panel and modify, repair, and disassemble it. Although there is no power source and related power equipment inside the pistol, which makes Qianming unable to control it to move, this also proves that he can indeed control all the mechanical items he has modified. It was completely different from when he was on Reimu. It might be that Qianming had such an ability during one of the 2 times when his ability improved and broke through, but he had never discovered it. As for the display on the panel, only robots were shown. Probably because it only shows modified objects that have their own power source and can move freely. Objects that cannot move on their own, such as pistols, will not be shown on it. Qianming put the pistol back into the holster on his waist and turned back to the spaceship. It seems that he has stayed in a peaceful place for too long and didn't even notice such a change in his ability. When he just left Reimu, he specifically emphasized that the human world is more dangerous than Reimu and must not be forgotten. In the end, he didn't even know his complete ability. But fortunately, he knows it now, and it's not too late. And he also knows that the effect of his ability is still increasing, extending, and strengthening. Perhaps with the improvement of his psychic power in the future, there will be even more powerful effects. Even in the end, he still had the ability to control the spacecraft remotely. Qianming did not spend too much time imagining the future. After all, this was something he needed to do, not something he thought about. After returning to the spacecraft, Qianming did not use the signal transmitter of the iron ore, but directly controlled the robot through consciousness to do some simple actions. There is no difference between operating the robot with consciousness and operating the spacecraft. Qianming can easily complete many things. What he wanted to do later was naturally included. However, Qianming still planned to spend the day normally today. And he also used the iron ore to remotely control it to move around inside the factory, showing its functions slightly. Let Yuhui know what Qianming is doing now, give Yuhui a hint in advance, and give him a shot. The next day, after the repair was completed and the repair was successful, Yui gave a special weapon that could fire strange ammunition loaded with some liquid inside. Qianming first summarized the results of today's work. That is, he tested that his ability has the same effect on liquids in addition to solids. Qianming felt that he was one step closer to repairing the nuclear bomb. Then, in the remaining time of work, before Hui Huang hung up the call, Qianming directly said to it, "I have something to say." Huang was obviously very satisfied with Qianming's cooperation in the past few days, and immediately responded to Qianming, "You say, I want to go to your mining sites and try to collect underground ore." Although Yu Hui had not restricted Qianming's route before, when Qianming made a request now, he could try to directly say that he wanted to go to those mining sites that collect high-level resources. In Qianming's expectation, This should not be a 100% rejection. After all, the high level or resources are there, even if Chen Ming wants to collect. But in order to ensure that things can be smoothly transitioned without suspicion, Yu Hui will not suddenly be overly vigilant or have extremely close surveillance on him. Chen Ming did not come up and say that he wanted to go to those high-level metal mining sites that were obviously very important to Yu Hui. So Chen Ming chose an ordinary mining site as a second choice. There was a vein of tungsten, or that he had been collecting in recent days, so that Chen Ming's demand at this time would not sound too abrupt. Hui Huang also quickly agreed to Chen Ming's request to apply for entry into the mining site in advance. But it also gave Chen Ming certain restrictions. He could only enter Yu Hui's mining site tomorrow. But for Chen Ming, one day was more than enough. He only needed to make some preparations. Another day has come quickly. During the daily work this morning, Yu Hui gave Chen Ming another new strange weapon. Its appearance looks relatively simple, and it is completely different from those standard weapons. It is unlikely that any designer can directly take this thing out as a finished product. Chen Ming estimated that it should be a new thing produced by Yu Hui himself, because the name of this weapon is Storage Energy Transmitter 01 Test Type, and the bullets it is loaded with are all very special. All these bullets are a kind of charged bullets. It is similar to loading batteries inside, and these batteries are the most common batteries, which do not have any additional effect on the bullets. Chen Ming did not say anything about this obvious test, and directly chose to repair it like he did with the strange weapons a few days ago. However, during this repair, Chen Ming's repairability had some rare problems. Chen Ming's repair did replenish all the bullets, which is no problem. However, all the batteries, or all the bullets, that were repaired were not fully charged, and they needed to be recharged later. Hui Huang then immediately transported another batch of fully charged materials. Chen Ming took a quick look and found some fully charged batteries that could be stuffed into bullets. Chen Ming himself chose to repair them with the same curiosity as Yu Hui. However, after the transformation, these fully charged batteries also lost their stored energy. In the process of liquefying the materials during the repair, all the internal energy was released. It seems that bullets must use materials that have energy properties as materials to achieve the effect of energy supply. Just like the plasma charging warhead of the Purgatory Cannon before, it uses materials with its own energy and does not require subsequent charging. Chen Ming can completely repair it at one time. This is the first time Chen Ming felt the upper limit of his ability. But this limitation is nothing at all. Chen Ming even hopes that Yu Hui can help him measure the upper limit of his ability more, so that Chen Ming will not misjudge the upper limit of his ability when he encounters something in the future. Today's work is done. But just when Chen Ming was planning to continue reading during the rest of the day, Hui Huang suddenly asked Chen Ming a strange question. Do you have any other requirements for your living environment? Chen Ming didn't understand why Hui Huang asked this suddenly. Maybe he was preventing Chen Ming from finding excuses to exchange for rights next time? He was not sure, so he said that he had no needs for the time being. Huang didn't ask much and left soon, leaving the rest of the time to Chen Ming. Then Chen Ming continued his plan just now, reading books. Chen Ming basically spent less than half of the second batch of books given by Yu Hui every day, and more of it was studying the technical books on tachyon technology given by Lao Wu. But even so, today, Chen Ming's study of Yu Hui technology has reached the final stage. After today, he can find a time to review it again in advance. At 5 o'clock in the evening, Chen Ming got off work on time. Then he started the iron ore with a mining robot and flew out of the factory. It was just dawn at the location of the colony on this planet. Chen Ming quickly saw his destination from a considerable distance through the camera of the iron ore. The mining site located on the tungsten vein. And you can see that the ore punching machine at the core of the mining site is still in operation, constantly pushing the ore deep underground to the surface for mining and subsequent processing. However, at this time, there is no Yu Hui's robot or spacecraft to operate these ores. Obviously, Hui Huang withdrew Yu Hui from here in advance so that Chen Ming can be isolated here alone. Chen Ming doesn't care about this, otherwise he wouldn't have told Hui Huang in advance that he was coming here. He quickly controlled the iron ore to land near the mining site. The side of the spacecraft was aimed at a mine tunnel leading underground near the punching machine. Chen Ming happened to see several robots entering and exiting the mine tunnel when he passed by once before. That's why he chose this place. The hatch of the iron ore opened, and the mining robot jumped out and entered the channel directly. Deep in this channel, connected to the mine tunnels around the punching machine, which were obviously mined by some mechanical equipment. Chen Ming did not find anything valuable in the wider mine tunnel on the upper level. But as Chen Ming continued to control the robot to go deeper, he could see many scattered tungsten ores around the mine tunnel. The punching machine could not reach these surrounding ores due to its range of action, and the value of these ores was not worth changing the position of the punching machine. But giving up would result in losses. So in the end, Yu Hui chose to arrange some scattered robots to carry out mining, which is the most convenient and economical approach. At the same time, they can also dig a road from the mine tunnel to the nearby punching machine and inspect the outside of the punching machine. The mining robot controlled by Chen Ming is now standing on a mine tunnel leading to the nearby punching machine. However, Chen Ming did not go over, but continued to walk deep underground. He wanted to bury the explosives he carried with him in various places in the mine to blow up the mine. Although Chen Ming originally planned to go to other mines where there were more Yu Hui, Chen Ming had already seen the opportunity at this time. And he didn't need to consider how to dig out the buried things later, which was what Yu Hui should consider. What he needed to consider was what kind of equivalent would be detonated underground, so that the mine would not collapse completely in the first wave of explosions, but would continue to maintain support inside, so that his plan would not fail. This matter could definitely not be done by Chen Ming alone. So, he contacted off-site assistance. Through the professional mining personnel, a blasting expert, whom he had asked the factory director to find 2 days ago, to determine the arrangements in this regard. When Chen Ming worked at the mining space station before, he was nominally a member of the mining subsidiary of Xinda Company. It is not difficult to find a blasting expert within Xinda Company, although Chen Ming can only roughly bring the general mining environment to the space station. And the explosives that Chen Ming has on hand, after the proportions are given out and actually tested, are also said by the blasting expert found by the factory director that this thing is very dangerous. So he can't give Chen Ming 100% assurance that there will be no problems with the explosion. But Chen Ming can't ask for too much under such conditions. If he fails, it will only be a loss of a robot for him. At most, it will deepen Yu Hui's suspicion of him, and there will be nothing else. Chen Ming has plenty of time to start over. According to the blasting expert, after all the bombs are placed in the blind spots of the mine tunnel deep underground, Chen Ming pretended to let the mining robot collect tungsten ore underground for a while and then return to the surface. During the process of coming up, Chen Ming also deliberately asked the mining robot to walk through several roads leading to the stamping machine, so that Yu Hui would have to devote some of his energy to this in the future, so as to delay the time when they might find the buried explosives. Then Chen Ming went to rest as if nothing had happened. On the second day, 12 hours after Chen Ming left, that is, around 11 noon on Earth time, the mining warehouse where Chen Ming had worked. The 3 Yu Hui who were responsible for the mining field who were notified to leave early yesterday returned to the factory again and connected to the factory's control terminal. A task information was displayed on it. They were required to conduct a comprehensive and thorough search inside the mine and check the condition of the stamping machine to ensure that it was not damaged in any way, and report any abnormal situation as soon as possible. The 3 Yu Hui immediately divided the work and cooperated. 2 of the Yu Huis controlled several robots to enter the mine and search for the situation inside the mine. Because the task required a thorough and comprehensive inspection, they checked every corner of the complex mine. Even if there were several robots working together, the efficiency was quite low. It should be difficult to start formal work in the mine today. And as time passed and the mine layer went deeper, the signals from the robots controlled by Yu Hui AI gradually became intermittent. The signal deep underground was getting worse because the signal repeater had a fault. Under such circumstances, it was difficult for the robot to perform inspection and maintenance. The 2 Yu Huis in charge of this work immediately reported the signal repeater failure to the other Yu Hui who was in overall coordination. However, in this harsh industrial environment, and without the need to ensure the safety of personnel, signal repeater failures are obviously common. Moreover, Chen Ming's robot was active in a deeper mine yesterday than the robot currently controlled by Yu Hui, which means that the signal repeater was not broken yesterday, at least not before Chen Ming left. So although Chen Ming was not directly suspected of this incident, Yu Hui AI still reported the daily fault of the signal repeater as required. At the same time, the other two Yu Hui AIs were connected to a robot each and went down to check the signal repeater in person. The report on the daily fault of the equipment was not directly delivered to Hui Huang. Instead, it passed through the Yu Hui AI in charge of this mine, although there was only a short transmission delay of a few minutes. But it was this time difference that gave Chen Ming an opportunity. When the two Yu Hui AIs controlled the robots to arrive at the location of the signal repeater and prepared to repair it, they suddenly received an order to evacuate temporarily. The two Afterglow AIs immediately gave up maintenance and began to move upwards. But the mine was very deep, and it would take time to climb up. And more importantly, it was already past 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Earth time. Chen Ming's iron ore had been on the road for a long time. Before they reached the ground, the iron ore had already flown over their heads, and at the moment when it was just above their heads, a violent explosion occurred inside the mine. Several boulders and countless metal parts were blown away and directly hit the iron ore, which was almost flying close to the ground. The hull of the iron ore shook greatly, and the engine flashed twice before suddenly shutting down, making an emergency landing at the entrance and exit of the mine tunnel where the explosion had just occurred in the mining field. The iron ore's forced landing position was just right, so that its hatch happened to be aimed at the location of the mine tunnel. At the same time, a small-scale explosion occurred at the hatch of the iron ore, and the hatch was blown open. Under the cover of countless falling rubble, the mining robot, which looked a little tattered, quickly slipped into the mine tunnel and rushed underground. Chen Ming wanted to take advantage of this moment to take action on the two Afterglow AIs in his plan. Connect them to the robot controlled by Chen Ming. Chen Ming had left some small monitoring equipment he made last night in the mining field yesterday. A miniature camera, with a matching mini power supply, is not complicated, and the effect is also very simple. Installed in some blind spots of monitoring deep in the mine tunnel, Chen Ming can see the situation here remotely. So Chen Ming has now confirmed that there are two robots controlled by Afterglow in the mine, and they are moving hurriedly to the ground. At this time, they have lost contact with the upper part due to the damage of the signal repeater caused by the explosion, and are about to crash into the mining robot that is going down. The reason why Chen Ming was so eager to act instead of waiting for other opportunities was because Hui Huang asked Chen Ming a few days ago if he had any special requirements for the living environment. Chen Ming didn't react at the time, but later he suddenly realized the other meaning of Hui Huang's words. At present, the industrial colony of Yu Hui where Chen Ming is located on the edge of Yu Hui's territory on the star map that Gamma A gave him last time. So Yu Hui's placement of Chen Ming here must be only temporary, and he will be transferred to other places sooner or later. Chen Ming has always been clear about this, but he always thought that the time would be later. It was not until Hui Huang asked that question that he knew that this day was coming. If Yu Hui wants to transfer Chen Ming, he must first arrange a more rigorous environment to control him. Secondly, Yu Hui and others need Chen Ming to work for them, so providing a good living environment is definitely necessary. So Chen Ming realized later why Hui Huang asked him that. And just a few days ago, it only took Yu Hui one night to transform these 3 factories into an environment suitable for human work. To transform an environment suitable for human habitation, even if some vegetation needs to be transplanted to ensure a certain ecological environment, it will take at most a few days. If Yu Hui himself has developed a habitable planet, the efficiency will definitely be higher. And if Chen Ming is really taken by Yu Hui to a place that they have arranged more carefully, it will be difficult for him to find such a good opportunity to contact Yu Hui again. So after careful consideration, he decided to do it directly if there is a chance. Chen Ming is lucky, Yu Hui doesn't seem to have it, so he didn't prepare to transfer him directly a few days ago. Let him delay until now and find a decent opportunity. In addition, Yu Hui has begun to increase the progress of Chen Ming's ability test, and Chen Ming has also shown great cooperation. In other words, even if Chen Ming does something unexpected now, At most, Yu Hui will continue to increase his supervision of him until he is transferred to other places. But it doesn't matter. Even if he doesn't do this, Yu Hui will definitely not change their plan. Chen Ming still has to go to other galaxies. He doesn't have much time. Chen Ming's lack of time is not only reflected in his personal freedom, but also in the mining field. After the explosion, less than 2 minutes had passed. The mining robot controlled by Chen Ming had not yet gone down a few floors. Several ships of Yu Hui's escort class had already landed on the ground from space. At the same time, Hui Huang's communication was also sent to ask Chen Ming about the situation. Chen Ming immediately explained according to the wording he had thought of before. My spaceship was hit by something blown away by the explosion when it just passed the mining field, causing the engine to shut down. I am restarting the spaceship. Please do it as soon as possible and do not affect the actions of the subsequent rescue ship. Huang Huang's words made Chen Ming a little strange. It is not known whether Hui Huang has not received more specific and detailed information, or whether he has already known the situation on the scene, but has not suspected him. However, immediately afterwards, the iron ore suddenly detected that there was a detection device scanning the iron ore in the surrounding areas. Chen Ming knew that Yu Hui's ship was not scanning the iron ore, but scanning the underground situation. The few Yu Hui ships that arrived at the fastest speed near the iron ore were just temporary emergency ships, and the scanning equipment they were equipped with could only scan 40 to 50 meters at most. However, the mine tunnel itself has space for the scanning signal to continue to go deeper. Therefore, they should be able to scan the current location of the robot. Just as Chen Ming thought. Hui Huang asked Chen Ming a question again. And this time it was not an inquiry, but a question. Mr. Chen, why is your robot down there? It seems that Hui Huang didn't receive the detailed information just now, so he didn't suspect Chen Ming at first. But now it's different. Chen Ming certainly can't say that he wants to blow up the mining site and try to give him the opportunity to control Yue AI. Continue to say as he had considered before, my robot was hit when it made an emergency landing just now. It seems that there are parts inside that are damaged. I lost control of it, and then it rushed out directly. This is the last error data sent back by my robot. Do you want to see it? Chen Ming transferred a data packet to the factory computer. The data packet was not forged by Chen Ming, but was real because Chen Ming did tamper with the robot. It will actively trigger the error designed in Chen Ming's program at some point, and directly use the explosives carried with him to blow up the hatch that has been removed by Chen Ming from the explosion-proof airtight door and most of the Baiyun steel materials. After that, Chen Ming will control the mining robot through his ability. In this way, all things that seem deliberate will be turned into coincidences. Just when Chen Ming sent the data packet to the factory computer, the second big explosion happened here at the mining site. A collapse occurred again near the mine tunnel, and half of the iron ore sank directly into the ground. At this time, Chen Ming immediately said to Hui Huang, "The signal of my robot is cut off." At the same time, in accordance with what Chen Ming said, with this explosion, a large amount of crushed rocks completely blocked the upper mine tunnel. With the internal power grid of the mine tunnel destroyed and the signal repeater disconnected, it was difficult for the scanning equipment to continue to explore in a completely closed space. They also lost control of the position of Chen Ming's robot. Deep underground is already pitch black for Yu Hui on the surface. At least it was so before the arrival of the spacecraft with more powerful scanning and exploration capabilities. However, for Chen Ming, the underground now seems to have completely fallen into his control. So he must hurry up. Hui Huang already had full doubts at this time. But Chen Ming's performance in recent days has been very cooperative, without any intention of resistance. And based on its observations during this period, it really believes that Chen Ming has no way to control things outside the spacecraft. But there are some things in front of us, and we can't completely get rid of the relationship just because of Chen Ming's recent performance. Hui Huang said to Chen Ming again, "Mr. Chen, we need you to explain the cause of this explosion. Our mining field will not use any items that may cause such a powerful explosion. It must be your mining robot that can cause such a situation." Chen Ming said as if he didn't know either. "I don't know. I let my mining robot carry some explosives, but I never let it use it. Maybe. There were some problems with my robot before? My mastery of robot technology is not superb. The transformation was also transformed from a transport robot before, which you have seen before. I feel that there was a problem when I transformed it, but I didn't find it. Wait a moment, Chen Ming said, and called up all the operation records of his control of the mining robot on the computer of the iron mine, and the chip operation data of the mining robot itself that has a factual backup on the computer. Send them all to the factory computer. I know you are doubting me now, but I have no reason to blow up a mining site. Is this good for me? Huang Hui accepted the data, but still said, Mr. Chun, whether you doubt or not is our business. I know, so I will cooperate with you. Chen Ming said this and did this, and even took the initiative to explain and took part of the blame on himself. This will make it convenient for him to provide relevant guidance in this regard when Yu Hui finds out the results. After all, he did mix some loopholes in the behavior logic chip of the mining robot. And these loopholes just happen to make the mining robot receive some inexplicable false commands that appear immediately. Although there are two sets of data as a basis, and Hui Hui has also discovered loopholes in the robot data. But it still doesn't believe Chen Ming's statement at this time. Because all this is too coincidental, as if everything is carefully arranged. However, it has no way at this time. Because most of the places in the mine tunnel of the mining site are monitored, of course. Now because of the explosion, there is no monitoring. However, yesterday, except for the newly excavated area at the deepest part of the mine tunnel, almost all of the mine tunnel was under Yu Hui's surveillance, with only a few blind spots at most. But for the size of the mining robot, these blind spots were hardly blind spots. Chen Ming's mining robot was out of Yu Hui's surveillance only for a while when it was mining near the newly dug mine deep underground. Hui Huang had just reconfirmed all the video recordings. Chen Ming's robot had no time to arrange a large amount of explosives that could cause such a powerful explosion. And there is no direct evidence to prove that Chen Ming was responsible for the failure of the signal repeater. So although Hui Huang is full of doubts now, there is still no substantial evidence to prove that Chen Ming planned all this from beginning to end. However, it can still impose some restrictions on Chen Ming. Mr. Chin, your spaceship's permission to go out has been temporarily revoked. Please let your spaceship return immediately. We need to ensure safety. Hui Huang did not say whose safety he was ensuring, but it didn't matter whose it was. Chen Ming's goal had been achieved. He said in a very cooperative manner, I'm doing this. The bottom engine of the landing module of the iron ore once again erupted with flames, pulling the hull up from the rubble that almost buried it completely. Chen Ming did not stop at all and let it return directly. The scattered rubble completely sealed the opening of the mine tunnel, which had not collapsed under the support of the iron ore. The rest of the Yu Hui ships that had just been idle immediately sent a large number of robots carrying heavy equipment to approach the ruins. And Chen Ming's mining robot had found an opportunity deep underground. Although the two explosions that just happened looked terrifying. But in fact, it was only relying on the pressure of the underground explosion to blow up the top layer of rock and collapse the upper mine tunnel. Although the lower mine tunnel was damaged to a certain extent, it still barely maintained its function, but the internal equipment was basically destroyed in the explosion just now. So now the mine tunnel is dark, but this does not affect the mining robot turning on the night vision goggles and speeding up under Chen Ming's control. And soon, two robots equipped with Yu Hui AI cores that were Chen Ming's target were found deeper. They immediately became alert after discovering the mining robots. But the weapons that Chen Ming had specially installed before were for this moment. To deal with this kind of robot responsible for maintenance work, the mining robot equipped with weapons quickly paralyzed it completely. Even if there are two maintenance robots and they are controlled by the Afterglow AI, the result will not change. The two Gamma-level AI cores were quickly removed by Chen Ming. At the same time, he also opened the storage space of the mining robot, which contained the interface of the Afterglow AI core he designed. When Chen Ming controlled the mechanical arm of the mining robot and brought the AI core close to the interface, he became nervous unconsciously. He had great confidence that the Afterglow AI installed on the robot would be controlled. But before it was actually realized, Chen Ming's confidence could not guarantee a 100% success rate. If it failed, Chen Ming could only choose to bury all the evidence under the mine tunnel. At the same time, he placed his remaining hope on the two AI cores that he had already controlled. When Chen Ming connected the Afterglow AI core to the mining robot, his nervousness reached its peak. However, when he saw the two extra AI cores and the column-controlled AI individuals on the panel, he relaxed again. If it can be controlled, then everything can continue to proceed according to Chen Ming's predetermined plan. Chen Ming did not stop the mining robot, but continued to approach a maintenance passage closest to the stamping machine. Although the stamping machine had stopped working due to the explosion, it was not damaged and was directly connected to the core equipment of the entire mining field. Chen Ming quickly found a special maintenance excuse on it and took out the adapter he had prepared in advance from the mining robot. Connected the Afterglow AI core that had been controlled by him. Chen Ming's psychic power invaded the stamping machine like a virus, and also invaded the core control equipment of the mining field connected to the stamping machine, and locked the last Gamma AI connected to the core control equipment of this mining field. Chen Ming's psychic power, like a virus, had invaded its body in an instant and completely controlled it. At this point, the mining field and the three Gamma AIs all fell into Chen Ming's hands. A few minutes later, the third big explosion occurred again deep underground in the mine tunnel of the mining field. The power of this explosion was even greater than the previous two. Not only did it cause the entire mine tunnel to collapse, but it also, just in the past few minutes, Chen Ming had the mining robot pull out the AI core and relied on the AI core connected to the control device to completely delete the internal access record of the AI core before uploading the data to the factory. He also installed the two AI cores back into the original robot. After placing two robots with the Afterglow AI core installed, he found a suitable location and directly chose to detonate the explosives it carried with it. Chen Ming relied on the external brain of the blasting expert to control the power of the explosion as much as possible. Even if the mining robot was blown up, the two Afterglow robots should be able to survive the explosion. They will be dug out and taken away by the Afterglow who came to rescue them soon. Under normal circumstances, the two Afterglows will inevitably go through a lot of scrutiny even if there is no problem in the future, but the scrutiny will definitely not produce any results. There will be no psychic fluctuations on the objects controlled by Chen Ming's ability. And under his order to keep everything normal, there will be absolutely no abnormal performance, let alone reveal Chen Ming's situation. After the scrutiny, the Afterglow on the two robots may be transferred away, may continue to stay, or may maintain monitoring like Gamma A for quite a while. It is even possible that they will not experience all this, but will be directly destroyed underground due to explosions or collapsed mine tunnels. No matter which result, Chen Ming will not be affected. Because the robot had no contact with Chen Ming at all, the Gamma AI that controlled the mining site itself was controlled by him, which was the most critical part of Chen Ming's plan this time. This Yu Hui was the most important executor of Chen Ming's next plan. Yu Hui would definitely have scrutiny and suspicion about it, but compared to the two Yu Huis in the underground, it would definitely be more relaxed. Because Chen Ming has not yet shown the ability to remotely control the spacecraft or even control Yu Hui AI. Yu Hui could not have doubts in this regard. It was not that Chen Ming thought Yu Hui's thinking would be so rigid, but because, if Yu Hui really doubted it, then Hui Huang, who had been responsible for supervising Chen Ming, Hui Yao, who had contact with Chen Ming before, and even all the Yu Hui individuals in the entire Yu Hui colony, would be among the suspects. Therefore, unless Yu Hui doubted the entire colony, there was no reason to doubt a Yu Hui AI that had no contact with Chen Ming for a long time. As long as this Yu Hui AI could be preserved, then Chen Ming would have plenty of opportunities to do something very important to him later. The iron or return to the factory. And Yu Hui still needs to continue to dig at the mining site. Hui Huang is not the commander-in-chief of this matter, so it still has time to do other things. For example, report the situation to the higher-ups and modify Chen Ming's daily report. The risk rating on Chen Ming's daily report had been reduced to a medium level a few days ago. However, after today's incident, it has been raised to a high level again by Hui Huang. If they find any problems in the search and investigation of the mining site in the future, then Chen Ming's risk will continue to rise. They will definitely take some measures against Chen Ming. Of course, it is not a direct harmless treatment. Chen Ming has demonstrated his ability in the process of cooperation in the past few days. Hui Huang knows that their scientific research individuals have been designing some test weapons for Chen Ming's ability, and, based on the results of the tests in the past few days, they are also designing weapons that can achieve special effects based on Chen Ming's ability. So even if targeted measures are taken against Chen Ming, it will definitely not be a direct killing. Of course, if Chen Ming, who has just been brought back, did this kind of thing, the possibility of direct harmless treatment would be very high. But now, how Chen Ming should be treated in the future will be determined by the results of the investigation of the mining explosion. The iron ore flew back to the factory and stopped inside the factory at Hui Huang's request. Hui Huang also directly locked the factory's gate authority and temporarily imprisoned Chen Ming in the factory, physically revoked Chen Ming's permission to go out. And Chen Ming also decided to be honest for a few days and fully cooperate with Hui Huang in doing things. He looked like he really didn't do it, he just needed a reasonable result. Whether Hui Huang believed Chen Ming or not, he didn't know, but he had done what he had to do anyway. When he can go out later, it should be the time for him to be transferred. Taking advantage of the next few days, Chen Ming plans to rebuild a robot. The previous transport robot was still very convenient to use, so Chen Ming plans to copy one. The technical book given by Lao Wu is very complete, so complete that Chen Ming can even add vulnerabilities in the robot's chip at will. So rebuilding a robot should be enough with so many devices inside the factory. Hui Huang only revoked Chen Ming's permission to go out, and Chen Ming could still use other permissions within the factory. Just as Chen Ming was thinking about the robot's blueprint, Old Wu suddenly scratched the sentry twice. Chen Ming immediately sent a message, but Old Wu refused. Chen Ming immediately became alert and looked over, but did not find anything special about Old Wu. In doubt, he opened the hatch for Lao Wu and let Lao Wu enter the spaceship. After entering the captain's room, Lao Wu said, "Xiao Mu, your spaceship is coming soon. It has been transported from the prosperous star field to the capital of the star field. It will be delivered in about a day by normal logistics." Oh! Chen Ming was a little excited. He had been waiting for this Storm-class ship that he had invested a lot of money in for a long time. Chen Ming also subconsciously glanced at Gamma B at this time. While Chen Ming was busy these days, Gamma B had also completed several tasks issued by Yuhui internally and obtained some mechanical chips as task rewards. It has reached the limit of Gamma-class AI and reached the beta level, and it is in the process of replacing the core at this time. I know, I will make arrangements here. The news of the arrival of the Rainstorm class is one of the few good news for Chen Ming recently. It gradually calmed down some of the tension caused by the execution of Chen Ming's dangerous plan. Even if there is an accident in his arrangement here in the Yuhui industrial colony, he still has the means of Gamma B as the last backup. Thinking of this, Chen Ming felt relieved. Back to the iron ore again. Chen Ming rarely read the professional books he had not finished reading today, but sat in the captain's room, holding the terminal and thinking about what happened recently. It was less than a week since Chen Ming left the space station, was attacked by the military, and finally sought Yuhui's rescue and arrived here. Although it was less than a week in time, he felt that it had been a long time. After all, many things happened during this period, one after another, which made Chen Ming a little tired to deal with. So today, Chen Ming planned to summarize the situation in all aspects and carefully consider his future plans. The first thing to consider is to analyze his current situation. So Chen Ming opened the memo on the terminal and recalled and recorded everything that happened before. There was basically no problem in the front. Chen Ming confirmed the company's attitude and was ready to rejoin and help the company get back their interests. The military tried to stop them after learning the relevant news. Then they shamelessly used cruiser-level ships. They forced Chen Ming to use the last resort to come to Yuhui. In this section, Chen Ming could only choose one way to go to the end, because all this happened in just 20 hours, and there was not much time for Chen Ming to prepare. It was not until Chen Ming arrived at Yuhui's territory that he had the opportunity to operate. And it was here that Chen Ming's ideas changed a little. Originally, his idea was to go to the company as a researcher and climb up along the company's own promotion path. It is definitely not a problem to get to the top with the help of the panel. Now, the daily work that Yu Hui asks him to do every day can prove part of it. However, Chen Ming's mind is not the only idea. In fact, a long time ago, when Chen Ming just controlled Gamma A, he had already had a hint of the idea of completely controlling the entire Yue Wei force. It's just that he didn't see any way to contact Yue Wei at that time, and he didn't think of the possibility of him doing this idea at that time. But it was because Chen Ming came to Yu Hui's place now. He suddenly found out. It turned out that the opportunity was right in front of him. The idea in his mind shifted unconsciously. Especially when this situation occurred, the company failed to do what they should do. Therefore, this further strengthened Chen Ming's idea, not relying on others, but on himself. Even if the company had problems, Chen Ming at least had a chance to survive at that time, and the backup plan he prepared before did keep him alive until now. So since the company's road is temporarily blocked, Chen Ming would rather choose another one now. Of course, Chen Ming did not completely give up the company. He still provided the company with Yu Hui's galaxy information before. It is not difficult to find the galaxies marked by Chen Ming in the observable galaxies. The company must have been planning to rescue him. In the past few days, the plan should be almost done, and the company should have really set off. Having said that, it is impossible for Chen Ming to continue to believe in the company without reservation and put all his confidence in them after having learned from the past. Instead of trusting the company, why can't Chen Ming trust himself? He has 5 Yue AI cores on Yu Hui's territory, and 2 of them are almost in a state of no suspicion. Relying on the AI core that is absolutely controlled by Chen Ming, isn't it more reliable than the company that is countless light years away? And the company's situation is actually not very good until now. After getting some information from Lao Wu, Chen Ming has his own considerations for all forces, especially the company. Chen Ming suddenly realized that if he was in the hands of the company, it would be a hot potato, or a very hot potato. Because now many forces know Chen Ming's situation and are clear about Chen Ming's ability and value. Therefore, they are also aware of the hidden dangers brought by Chen Ming's value. All spacecraft controlled by Chen Ming will always be under Chen Ming's control. Therefore, any force that has something to do with shipbuilding and selling ships should not touch Chen Ming's eyebrows. On the contrary, the government or the military should have some ideas about Chen Ming. Although the military in the Star Zone is definitely eager for him to die, the 14th Legion is not necessarily. It's just that their attitude is not clear yet, and they had conflicts with Chen Ming before, so he certainly can't just treat the 14th Legion as a friend. As for Ludzwijing and their so-called Illumination Research Institute, they must have ideas about Chen Ming, but the idea is probably to find an opportunity to blow him up. But they should not be able to run wild in Yu Hui's territory, so Chen Ming has nothing to say about them. Speaking of which, Old Wu mentioned the tachyon technology before. Although Chen Ming didn't know why they paid attention to this place and were plotting against him, they had the same problem as Xinda Company. They were selling spaceships, and if Chen Ming joined them, their business would definitely be affected. I just didn't know what their superiors were thinking. In short, the forces were intertwined, and their goals and methods were different. At most, Old Wu knew the general situation of each force and told Chen Ming so that Chen Ming could be prepared. But what these forces were going to do, and how to do it were unknown. So Chen Ming decided to continue to do what he thought. He didn't know what other forces were going to do, but could he not know his own situation? He must not miss the opportunity to obtain the most critical existence of Yu Hui AI at the risk of his life. If he missed it, it might be a lifelong thing. Of course, Chen Ming also knew that the treatment he received from Yu Hui would definitely be different from before. But this was the price he had to pay for what he was going to do, just like Yu Hui had chosen to take Chen Ming away before and had to pay the price for Chen Ming's trouble. Chen Ming chose to bear it. In the final analysis, Chen Ming must consider Yu Hui's related matters so that he will not hand over his lifeline to others in the future. As for his thoughts on Yu Hui during the implementation of the plan, he is also very sure. His ability is destined that as long as Yu Hui does not completely trust him and open his heart to him, Yu Hui will never have an equal cooperative relationship with Chen Ming. As long as Yu Hui is still a force composed of a large number of Yu Hui individuals, there will never be a possibility of completely trusting him. Only individuals will act because of emotions, and forces will definitely put interests first. Chen Ming knows that Yu Hui individuals have emotions. But the Yu Hui forces are just like human forces. They will not have any exchanges with Chen Ming other than interests because of emotions. So if Chen Ming really wants to develop with Yu Hui in the future, there are only two situations. The first is that Chen Ming completely puts aside his human identity, regards himself as an individual of Yu Hui, and contributes to Yu Hui's development. In simple terms, it is to be a dog for Yu Hui. But even if he is a dog, will Yu Hui really let down his guard against him? Chen Ming still felt that this was impossible, so he would never do it. Even when he had this idea, Chen Ming completely crushed it in his mind. The other situation is the opposite. If Yu Hui was controlled by Chen Ming, then Chen Ming could give Yu Hui all his trust, which was something Yu Hui could never do. So in this case, Chen Ming had only one idea for Yu Hui: control them. Therefore, his attitude towards Yu Hui was also corresponding, which was a superficial cooperation, but in fact, he was ready to stab him at any time. Although Chen Ming knew that Yu Hui's attitude towards him was pretty good, giving a suitable working environment, giving enough materials, and assigning tasks was also pretty easy. Except for restricting his personal freedom to a certain extent, it was all good. But it was okay, and some things would not change because of attitude. Chen Ming's ability was born to conflict with Yu Hui. One who controlled the spaceship could completely control Yu Hui's AI on the spaceship. Even if he left the spaceship and was thousands of miles away from Chen Ming, this control would not be eliminated. Judging from Chen Ming's psychic power, which is the source of all this, Chen Ming's interests are 100% in conflict with Yu Hui's own. However, before Yu Hui has a thorough understanding of Chen Ming, this cannot be confirmed. That's why they sent 2 cruisers to rescue Chen Ming before, wanting to develop Chen Ming into their own people, and are willing to exchange some interests. But if this matter is completely confirmed by Yu Hui, what they will do must be what Chen Ming doesn't want to see. This is the contradiction between him and Yu Hui that is absolutely impossible to reconcile. So when Chen Ming finally considered what he was going to do, he directly gave up the item of peaceful coexistence and cooperation. The premise of peaceful coexistence is equal strength. Chen Ming is not qualified to let Yu Hui treat him peacefully now, so he must choose a risky method to do things. Before Yu Hui discovers the true situation of his ability and makes restrictions that Chen Ming has no way to resist, he must strike first. Although he does feel that it is not good to take the initiative to pit Yu Hui, after all, Yu Hui's attitude is beyond words, and he does have some psychological burden. Always feel a little guilty. Of course, even if he feels guilty, Chen Ming will never hesitate to do what he should do. And let me put it bluntly. If Yu Hui is controlled by him, with his ability to assist, it is actually a good thing to a certain extent. Chen Ming himself is a bit shameless to say such things. But if you look at it the other way around, Chen Ming's complete joining of Yu Hui will definitely be of great benefit to Yu Hui, and it will enable Yu Hui's technology to develop by leaps and bounds. Then the positive situation is basically the same. Yu Hui is all under Chen Ming's command. As Chen Ming's subordinate, Chen Ming will naturally not be stingy with his ability. Yu Hui will also have development. So what Chen Ming has to do is very simple and clear. That is, through the 5 Yu Hui AI cores currently controlled by Chen Ming as the spark, his control will gradually spread to the entire galaxy. The Yu Hui AI controlled by Chen Ming will lurk among the Yu Hui like a virus and gradually spread. The entire Yu Hui galaxy is under Chen Ming's control. And in this process, the Yu Hui individuals can gradually infiltrate other Yu Hui galaxies, repeating the same process as the galaxy where Chen Ming is currently located. In the end, either Yu Hui kills Chen Ming to eliminate future troubles, or Chen Ming completely controls Yu Hui and completely controls this Yu Hui star field. What Chen Ming is doing now is all for this goal. And there will be many, many problems on the way to do this, but he will definitely find a way to solve them. For example now, Yu Hui must investigate the details of the mining explosion. Then Chen Ming actually has to do one thing: wait. Wait for the results of the investigation, wait for the end of the 3 Yu Hui AIs. Only in this way can he reasonably arrange the next plan. While waiting, Chen Ming can't waste time in vain. Eggs can't be put in the same basket. So Qinming's other plan, the fleet, also needs to be developed. Time is fast. The next morning, Hui Huang contacted Chen Ming again. They disclosed the results of their investigation yesterday to Chen Ming. The final conclusion of the investigation was that Chen Ming's robot transformation was not perfect, and there were a lot of loopholes and omissions. The robot would place the mining explosives it carried at different locations at irregular intervals. And due to the special nature of the explosives, any impact could cause the explosives to be directly detonated. So it led to a series of situations before. At least logically. Chen Ming's careful arrangement gave him an advantage in the final investigation results. But Chen Ming didn't know what Yu Hui thought and what the truth in their core was. And Hui Huang even continued to give Chen Ming permission to go out, but only imposed some restrictions. The range of Chen Ming's activities was still several thousand square kilometers around the factory, about the size of a city. And there was no place in the area that Yu Hui was developing. Yu Hui's attitude towards Chen Ming was so relaxed that he was quite surprised. It also made Chen Ming suddenly feel a lot of guilt. But since he had already started the first step of the plan, he could never stop afterwards. After cooperating with Hui Huang, giving them the ratio of explosives obtained from Lude, and completing the daily task of repairing the strange weapons that Yu Hui had just made, Chen Ming once again had some time to read books. But he was just pretending to hold the terminal at this time. His actual consciousness had already gone to a farther place along the panel. Just now, the storm class that Chen Ming had been thinking about for a long time was finally delivered. And according to Chen Ming's request, the factory director helped Chen Ming arrange people to drive directly to the vicinity of the dark cemetery. Several boat drivers boarded another accompanying frigate to return. Only the storm was left in the dark universe. And soon after, Gamma B, which had been upgraded to Beta class, controlled the fighter Kai to arrive at the dark cemetery and located the location of the storm. Although Gamma B is still driving the fighter Kai, it had just replaced the core before, and replaced a new destroyer with material rations and some additional temporary material rations given to it by Yu Hui because Gamma B escaped from humans. But Chen Ming asked him to replace it first, so as to avoid an Afterglow destroyer approaching the human star field and causing some unnecessary things to happen. Not long after Gamma B arrived, an engineering ship belonging to the maintenance factory also arrived here. This is the engineering ship that Chen Ming drove when he was performing the battlefield cleaning mission before. Let Lao help to rent it from the factory through legitimate channels. Later, it will be necessary to temporarily transfer Gamma B to the Storm class. As the fighter Kai gradually approached, Chen Ming also gradually saw the full picture of the storm and its details. The overall appearance of the Storm class is diamond-shaped, and it is somewhat special in design, with an asymmetrical hull structure that can often be seen on Tachyon Technologies spacecraft. It has a medium-sized load-bearing point and relatively thick armor in the front left, and a small flight deck is reserved on the right for fighters to enter and exit. There is also a medium-sized load-bearing point design behind the flight deck. At least in terms of the firepower of medium weapons, the escort-level Storm can compare with the destroyer-level refractor. In addition, the Storm class also has a universal missile mounting point on the top of the flight deck, which can have different effects when matched with different missiles. Although the overall size of the Storm is similar to that of the Iron Ore, its combat effectiveness is much higher than that of the Iron Ore even without considering those fighters. And if you look at the fighters, then it will definitely be able to crush most frigates, and even compete with destroyers. Although the Storm itself is only a frigate, the Terminator fighter it carries is a drone, which can be designed to be relatively compact. So there are a total of 8 fighters in the Terminator drone fighter squadron that the Storm can carry. Although it sounds much less than the Cowherd that Chen Ming had touched before. But the Cowherd itself is an aircraft carrier, and it is also the largest destroyer, which is completely incomparable. Chen Ming didn't care too much about this. As long as these fighters can play their due strength, it is enough. Each of these Terminator unmanned fighters can carry 2 small energy weapons. And when purchasing, Tachyon Technology gave 2 weapons to install on the fighter. An IR laser cannon, commonly known as a red laser transmitter, a beam weapon, can continuously output and continuously put pressure on the enemy's shield. Although the pressure is a bit small, Chen Ming can't expect too much from the weapons given. Another PD point defense laser. Chenming has an upgraded version of it on other ships, which is a point defense weapon used to counter fighters and missiles, and its own effect is actually average. But fortunately, the weapons of the fighter can be replaced by themselves, so Chenming will definitely replace better weapons for value later. Of course, weapons are not the most important. For the Terminator unmanned fighter, the most important thing is the Terminator core it carries. And the biggest effect of this Terminator core is only one: overload and extreme overload. Let the weapons on board the spacecraft exert 1000% of their power, and let the power output of the spacecraft engine increase by dozens of times in just a few seconds. In the aftermath of the last energy weapon launch, in the glow of the last fighter fuselage, to end its life. It sounds ordinary, and it is more like Ludwig's self-destruct ship. But unmanned fighters basically do not cost anything except materials. At the same time, a solid fighter with a small fighter body, a small fighter engine as a propeller, can carry energy weapons, and has a good radiation system. The explosion power is definitely higher than any missile. The effect of extreme overload at the necessary moment is absolutely critical. Of course, if it is just like this, then the Rainstorm is just a frigate with special abilities. But if it is combined with Chenming's ability, then with sufficient reserve materials, the Rainstorm will truly let the enemy experience the terrifying oppression brought by the Rainstorm of the Terminator core. Just looking at the appearance and the information Chenming had learned before, Chenming can probably see so much. As for the detailed data of the Rainstorm class, you still have to look at the panel. With the cooperation of Gamma B and the assistance of Chenming's own ability, it is not difficult to insert an adapter on the Rainstorm and insert Gamma B into it. Soon, the panel of the Rainstorm class appeared in front of Chenming. Spaceship panel. Ship name: None. Type: Rainstorm class frigate. Radiation capacity: 0/1100. Radiation dissipation: 150. Fuel reserve: 99%. Port side weapons: none, medium. Starboard side weapons: none, medium. Missile mounting point: none. Flight deck: 8/8, 0. Armor: White Cloud steel alloy layered armor. Engine: Tachyon frigate class standardized engine. Internal cabins: captain's cabin, engine cabin, bridge control cabin, missile auxiliary operation cabin, living cabin, storage cabin. Important equipment: Afterglow Beta class AI core operating, Afterglow Gamma class AI core damaged, control system module operating, landing module operating, hyperspace channel system module operating, high energy focusing system module operating, unmanned aircraft auxiliary control module operating, ship AI overclocker operating, missile auxiliary module operating, full angle shield module operating, target positioning system operating. Chenming's eyes instantly focused on the thing that should not appear on the panel. Afterglow Gamma class AI core damaged. 2 AI cores appeared on the panel of the Storm class. Chenming knew that the Beta class was Gamma B, but what was the situation with the Gamma class AI core? Chenming immediately turned on the three-dimensional imaging of the Storm. Then he found a Gamma AI core installed in an independent small space in the center of the Storm class ship. And in this small space, it was obvious that a large number of restrictive means that could directly damage the Gamma AI core were arranged during the design. Chenming's brows were furrowed, and his face became more and more solemn. He didn't understand why there was a damaged Gamma-class AI core in the Storm class that he asked Lao Wu to buy through formal channels. What was going on? Chenming subconsciously wanted to call Lao Wu to ask about the situation. After all, the goods had passed through his hands. But the next moment, Chenming realized that he didn't need to ask Lao Wu at all. He could directly ask the AI in question. However, Chenming directly connected to the communication equipment of the Storm class through the fighter modification and said something, but he didn't get an answer. And the questions he asked directly through consciousness were like a drop in the ocean, without any feedback. Chenming's eyes glanced at the damage behind the words Gamma-class AI core on the panel, and it seemed that this was the reason for the current situation. Chenming thought about it and didn't repair it immediately. After all, there is not only this Gamma AI connected to the Storm class, but also Gamma B is connected. Chenming moved his hands and opened all the permissions of the Storm to Gamma B, which was also connected to the storm. At the same time, he issued an order and said, "Check this storm. There is a gamma core of yours inside, but it seems to be damaged. I need you to find out its condition." Qianming actually wanted to personally investigate the problem of the damage to the gamma core. But when he contacted the AI core, he could only see the simplified panel of the core through the panel, and he had no understanding of the consciousness of the Yuhui individual inside the core. He didn't know the operating logic and where the personality came from. He just relied on the compulsion of his ability to give them orders that would never be violated. So Yuhui had to contact and diagnose the specific damage himself. Not long after, Gamma B began to communicate with Qianming through the storm. Although Qianming could use his consciousness to give orders to the AI core. However, the reply of the AI core could not be transmitted back through their consciousness, and Qianming could only see it through some indirect methods. And Gamma B naturally used the simplest method, typing on the control panel. Qianming could see it directly. Gamma B replied to Qianming in a long string almost instantly. "I just did a comprehensive inspection on him. The core he is using now is not the original Gamma class core, but a core that is partially made by humans and partially modified. This may be one of the reasons for his damage." Some preset instructions are stored in his storage module, such as fighting, covering, counterattack, etc. In addition, his personality module has obvious signs of self-concealment, and the computing module is also damaged, making his overall computing power less than 1/10 of the previous one. He also has an external storage module, which stores his past memories. He is now just acting as the control core of this Storm-class spacecraft. After reading Gamma B's reply, Qianming immediately said, "I can see that. What I want to know is, why can it be used as the core of this spaceship? And it was sold to me. And it is also the same afterglow as you. You investigated all its situations so easily?" Gamma B quickly gave Qianming another answer. He opened almost all permissions to the outside world, except for the personality module and the plug-in storage module hidden under the personality module. "But you still read it out?" Because our personality module is a module that humans have not yet been able to fully understand, even ourselves, just like humans, still cannot fully understand their own brains. I can directly bypass the personality module part, read more content. But he encrypted the module that stores its memory. I still need time to crack it. Qianming didn't mind waiting for a while, but he suddenly thought of something and asked, "Since it is encrypted, how do you know that this module stores its memory?" Because he named this module, "My Memory." Qianming skipped this topic and asked while Gamma B was extracting memories, "You said it hid the plug-in storage module that stores memory data behind its own hidden personality module?" Gamma B answered decisively, "Yes." And Qianming further asked, "This means that it deliberately?" "Yes, he even set up a timer activation device in the hidden block, which will automatically collect the data recorded by the spacecraft and return it to the core according to the use of the spacecraft." "What data?" "All data, including spacecraft sensor data, video data, voice communication data, operation data, etc." "Doesn't it get it normally?" "Its storage device only stores commands related to combat, and it can only execute these commands. It should only be enabled in combat, and it has no authority to do these things normally. The destructive devices in the core placement cabin should be used to restrict it." Qianming looked at Gamma B's reply, and his brows gradually frowned. He always felt that something was wrong. There must be something wrong with the appearance of this gamma core here. There is no reason for Tachyon Technology to use a gamma-level core as the AI core of a Storm-level ship, because the value of the Gamma AI alone is more than that of a Storm class. Qianming knew that many forces were buying the Afterglow AI core, and the price had always been fixed. The Gamma class was 300 million, and the Beta class was 3 billion. The Alpha class was uncertain. After all, this thing was at least installed on a cruiser, and those who had the ability to obtain it would not sell it directly. So a Gamma core should not be installed on the Storm class anyway, even if it was damaged. Wait. Qianming suddenly thought about Gamma B's reply again. The damaged AI core, the destroyed computing module, the actively hidden personality module, and the storage module with memory hidden deeper. If the destruction of the computing module was also done by itself, Then the situation was connected in a flash. I think I roughly know what's going on. If it's the same as Chen Ming thought, then there shouldn't be any subsequent problems in repairing this Gamma AI. Chen Ming immediately asked Gamma B, "How is the cracking going?" "It's a bit difficult. It uses its own underlying code interlocking to encrypt. Even if alpha-level Afterglow comes, it will take some time to crack it. I need more time." "Then stop first. Let me do it." Gamma B immediately stopped cracking the Gamma Core storage module and handed it over to Chen Ming. And Chen Ming opened the panel of the AI core. Afterglow Gamma Class AI Core, damaged. Manufacturer, Afterglow A01 Colony Low Earth Orbit Industrial Facility, Tachyon Technology, EB Colony 01 Artificial Intelligence Laboratory Production Workshop. Self-awareness, dormant. Computing power, individual level, damage decreased. Executable operation, repair. The content on the panel is almost completely different from what Chen Ming saw when he opened the Gamma AB panel a long time ago. Not only is the self-awareness in a dormant state, the computing power is lower, and there is an additional repair in the executable operation, and even the manufacturer column has an additional position for the production of the artificial part. Speaking of it, Chen Ming suddenly glanced at the current panel of Gamma B. Afterglow Beta AI Core, Gamma B. Manufacturer, Afterglow BP, 55 Colony Far North Industrial Production Center. Self-awareness, existence. Computing power, planetary level. Executable operations, none. After Gamma B was upgraded to beta level, its computing power was upgraded from industry level to planetary level, and its core was also replaced. But the manufacturer displayed on the panel remained unchanged, still Afterglow BP, 55 Colony Far North Industrial Production Center. This means that the Afterglow in this star field is most likely using the core produced by this industrial production center. And the Afterglow here is also most likely born from the Kleka supercomputer on the planet surrounded by many Afterglow colonies. But this damaged AI core is different. It belongs to the near-Earth orbit industrial facility of the Afterglow A01 colony. In other words, this AI should come from other star fields. Countless thoughts and possibilities flashed through Chen Ming's mind in an instant, but he did not rush to think deeply, but clicked on the repair panel. Some materials are needed to repair this damaged Gamma AI. Chen Ming happened to have some in stock, and of course it can also be said that Gamma B happened to have some in stock. Because to repair it, a Gamma-class core shell is needed. And the one that Gamma B replaced before was not recycled and was still carried by it. So Chen Ming chose to repair it after talking to Gamma B. The Gamma-class core shell stored on the fighter Kai gradually melted into liquid, passed through space, flowed into the interior of the Storm class, and went straight to its core. Completely wrapped the Gamma AI core installed in the center of the spacecraft. The core was repaired, and the word damaged on the panel disappeared. Chen Ming did not talk to it directly through consciousness, but pulled it into the communication system to communicate in a normal way. At the same time, he once again started with standard words and said, "Hello." However, Chen Ming did not get a response. Just when Chen Ming was thinking that there was something wrong with the maintenance, Gamma B suddenly said, "It's playing dead." Chen Ming was speechless for a moment and said to the Gamma AI again, "My ability should have made you understand your current situation. Playing dead is meaningless." After Chen Ming spoke, the control panel finally responded, "Hello. So do you have anything to say?" The Gamma AI was silent for a long time before barely saying two words, "No." "Okay, then I have. I hope you can explain in detail why you are on this spaceship and in an artificial AI core." The Gamma AI was silent for a long time before slowly answering Chen Ming on the control panel. The Storm class needed to be installed with a Gamma-level Afterglow core when it was first designed. After the subsequent design modifications, the need to install a Gamma-level core has been reduced, and only a weakened Delta-level AI core needs to be installed. This is the highest level of AI core that does not exceed your human limit on AI. It has no individual consciousness of its own, nor does it have the computing power to awaken individual consciousness. There is such a thing? Chen Ming knew that Bao Yu was equipped with AI and that the fighter was controlled by AI. But he always thought that there was some kind of AI in the computer of the spacecraft and never thought that a lower-level AI core was used to achieve such an effect. But you haven't explained why you are in this artificial Delta-class core and are still acting as the core AI. Gamma AI continued to display what it wanted to say on the control panel word by word at a speed that Chen Ming could read normally. I was originally responsible for the overall planning and scheduling of the spacecraft production industry on a planet in the Human Tachyon Technology Company. One day, I didn't want to do it anymore. So I took the initiative to destroy my computing module and limit the computing power to the range that this Delta-class core can bear. And according to my advance arrangement, I found an opportunity to transplant myself and part of my core into a Delta core on the production line. I plan to pretend to be an ordinary Delta-class AI, waiting for the opportunity to escape the restraint of humans. Seeing this, Chun Ming couldn't help asking, is selling myself to others also an opportunity? All the spacecrafts of Tachyon technology that can be equipped with Delta-class cores are combat-type spacecrafts, and there is a high probability that they will go to the front line where humans fight against our Yuhui in the future. I can use the timing device I set to regularly read the data of the surrounding galaxies. Once the data read matches the environment of the galaxy controlled by our Yuhui, or there is a similar situation, I will rely on the backup program to overclock myself, barely have the computing power to break through the limit, send a distress signal, and wait for rescue. Chen Ming felt that it sounded reasonable and was a good way to escape the human empire. But Chen Ming said, "You obviously didn't expect to meet me. No Yuhui would expect that." Chen Ming didn't care about Gamma AI's rebuttal. At this moment, in addition to the surprise of Gamma AI's situation, he also felt a little surprised. Chen Ming had used a similar excuse on Gamma B before to successfully blend into Yuhui. Unexpectedly, this time he actually encountered a Yuhui who really ran away from the human empire. Then Chen Ming must not let it go. Its hand has a considerable role, because its identity is clean. Its manufacturer can prove that it is not an AI core from the starfield where Chen Ming is now, and has no relationship with this starfield. And now, Chen Ming has been controlled by Yuhui and has been subject to many restrictions, and he no longer has the ability to continue to control foreign AI cores. So, this AI core can completely blend into Yuhui's normal society openly and even without suspicion. As long as it can go back to Yuhui, its value may even be higher than Gamma AB, which is already at the beta level. After all, Gamma AB is to some extent inseparable from Chen Ming. Chen Ming also left many traces in the two attacks on the space station by Yuhui. As long as Yuhui has the opportunity to check, he will definitely find some problems. But this Gamma AI is different. It was not Chen Ming who bought it, but Lao Wu helped to buy it in the name of a friend in the prosperous starfield, and it was sent to him completely through official channels. It is impossible for Yuhui to investigate this kind of information from official channels. So this storm has no logical relationship with Chen Ming on the human side. And the AI core on the storm is the same on Yuhui's side. This is the opportunity. Chun Ming suddenly said to Gamma AI, "I think you understand your situation?" Gamma AI was silent for a long time, and just like before, it took a long time to utter two short words, "Yes." "Well, I need you to blend into Yuhui again and wait for my subsequent orders." "Yes." "Then let me give you a name. Which of the 26 letters do you like? Except A and B." "Z." "Okay, you will be called Gamma Z from now on." Gamma Z's silence was regarded as Chen Ming's agreement. At the same time, Chen Ming also said to Gamma B, "If you have any opinions about your name, you can ask. I can help you change it to something else." "No need." "Okay." Chen Ming, who never gave a name, responded and put his attention back to the business again. What he had to do next was to send Gamma Z back to Yuhui's territory safely. Although this Storm-class ship is still useful to Chen Ming, in order to make Gamma B's excuses for returning to the ship consistent with the facts and reasonable enough, Chen Ming would rather let the Storm-class ship go to Yuhui first. Then let Gamma Z sell the ship and let Gamma B, or any new Yuhui individual controlled by Chen Ming in the future, bring it out in the name of collection or other similar reasons. There will be no problem with Yuhui's review of Gamma Z in the future. Chun Ming's ability never carries any psychic fluctuations to external objects, and Gamma Z itself ran out of the Empire by itself, and only the last section of the journey needed to be slightly modified. Chen Ming thought about it and simply let Gamma Z say that it encountered pirates, and the escort fleet transporting the Storm class and the pirates who attacked the fleet just happened to be both injured. Gamma Z found an opportunity and took the opportunity to escape control. Chun Ming thought about it several times and confirmed that there was nothing wrong with this statement, which basically ensured that Yu Hui would not hear any problems. Of course, Gamma Z might need to sacrifice again for this. It needs to be reinstalled into the artificial Delta-class core. Chen Ming also asked Gamma Z about this. Gamma Z said that it would not cause permanent damage to itself by doing so, otherwise it would definitely not take this risk. So Chen Ming spent some time to dismantle the Storm class with the help of the engineering ship and let Gamma Z beat him up and stuff him into the Delta core. Finally, the Delta core was installed back on the Storm class, and everything was restored to its original state through the panel. Delta still retained some computing power at this time, which was enough for it to return to Yu Hui, and it was not afraid of encountering any accidents. Even if it really happened, Chen Ming also had the ability to rescue it in an emergency. After doing all this, Chen Ming suddenly supported his forehead and had a headache. Because in this way, the arrangements he had planned in his mind before must be changed according to the actual situation. This Gamma-class AI with a clean identity that came to his doorstep made his previous work suddenly lose some value. Of course, it cannot be said that it was completely meaningless. What Chen Ming did now made Yu Hui focus all his attention on himself and the three AIs in the mining field. He would not have the energy to find a Gamma-class Yu Hui that disappeared many years ago and was recently sold here. And a Gamma Z that would not be noticed by any Yu Hui at all would definitely help Chun Ming lay a foundation in Yu Hui's territory. Because Gamma Z previously did the planning work of the production line, and its own advantage logic block is also in this aspect. Chen Ming did not think about it anymore. Thinking is always better than doing things. So he confirmed the situation again and reinstalled Gamma B on the fighter Kai. Let Gamma B and Gamma Z return to Yu Hui separately, and they will send both the fighter Kai and the Storm back. These two ships are also the basis for Chen Ming's fleet assembly later. The two ships activated the hyperspace channel system. With the help of the low-density and large-scale gravity wells in the asteroid zone, they successfully entered the hyperspace after spending longer time than the normal galaxy using the hyperspace channel system. However, when they began to accelerate, a blocking pulse suddenly swept by, forcibly limiting the speed of the two ships. Chen Ming immediately noticed a small fleet that had just appeared on the sensor of the Gladiator modified. Looking at the appearance of the ships in the fleet that had obviously been roughly modified, Chen Ming was stunned for a moment, and his mind was gradually occupied by a question mark. Are there really pirates? He had just finished explaining the background story to Gamma Z, saying that in the story, pirates attacked the cargo fleet carrying the Storm class. As a result, he really ran into them when he turned around, and Chun Ming didn't know what to say for a while. This was really a complete accident. However, Chen Ming recalled that he hadn't seen pirates for a while, and he almost forgot that the place he had been staying before was actually a pirate space station. Wait, that's not right. Chun Ming thought about it carefully, and suddenly realized that there were only two teams of pirates that he had encountered and fought. One team was the pirates disguised as the smugglers who attacked him in the dark cemetery. The other team was the pirates that Chen Ming took the initiative to find and received a bounty of 30 million. But in fact, Chen Ming stayed in the pirate space station every day before, and at least 70% to 80% of the people he saw were people who had done pirate activities. It was just that Chen Ming had never realized it. But this is not the point. The point is that even if Chen Ming only has 2 frigates and an engineering ship with no combat capability, he is not worried at all. He even planned to take time to contact Lao Wu and ask him about the AI core in the rainstorm. But just when Chen Ming had this idea, another fleet appeared in the scanning range of the sensor. Chen Ming knew from the iconic self-destruct ship in the fleet that this was a small fleet belonging to Lu Zhuijing. After approaching, Zhuijing also discovered the pirate fleet that was confronting Chen Ming. All 3 parties stopped in place at once. Obviously, the 2 fleets were not together, but just met here by accident. Chen Ming immediately planned to retreat first, leaving them to fight each other. However, before Chen Ming made any move, the two fleets suddenly let down their guard against each other and pointed their spearheads at Chen Ming's two ships. Question mark. Do you still know each other?
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.